Chris Walker, Reynolds checking it out, but out wide was the green Kawasaki.
I'll tell you why as well.
That was the man of the race so far, but he's really gone good.
Because he's been Haydened.
Yeah, Hayden
and Hizzies.
And Mackenzie.
Yes, seriously done over in that case.
Now that's, who was that? John Crockford maybe, the privateer, the leading privateer in the series at the moment. So top three now breaking away, as they did in race 1 here at Silverstone today. These are live pictures from Silverstone. We're at trackside, and we're bringing you the drama as a Suzuki, National Tyre Suzuki and Autocare side by, absolutely sideways on there, spinning the rear end of that bike. I tell you, it took my breath slightly.
Oh, dear.
Number 2, Chris Walker, then the leader. We're on lap 3 of 19 now, reduced from 20 by the extra warm-up lap they've had to do.
That's Hislop got Hayden as they went into Cops.
We're soon going to find that one. Oh, a bit shaking his head there. Hodgson away. Where's Reynolds? He slipped off the back of these two. He was right there with them a moment ago. Reynolds has slipped back just a fraction, and it is only a fraction.
A couple of bike lengths.
So out through Ireland's corner now, flip-flop over the curve, one way, the other way, on the gas as hard as you can. The Suzuki, the injected Suzuki, is going down the back straight. Oh, Hodgson takes a look at the outside line and over the top. Oh, and Chris Walker. Down! I tell you what, that is Walker and Hodgson together again, and we are going to have to look at that replay. Yeah, only out the exhaust, Julian. It's just burning a bit of fluid that's in the exhaust. Let's take a look at it then. Let's take a look at it again. Who was it that is at fault? So, a nice move from Neil Hodgson, goes underneath Chris Walker. No problem from Hodgson there at this point. And then he comes across. Well, no, that was the right line that Hodgson was on. But unfortunately, I tell you, that was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Hodgson was on the right line. Walker, though, by virtue of the motorcycle, was probably on a line that he preferred for the Suzuki. And there was again a coming together. Well, sort this one out, lads. Certainly Hodgson has come out the worst of that, but I can't blame Walker and I can't blame Hodgson. Do you agree?
Well, I am never raced, as you like to point out. I'll tell you what it looked like to me as a spectator, is that Neil tried a move that didn't come off.
No, not in my view at all. Not in my view at all. I think Hodgson made a perfect move, but the fact was that the Ducati man had a line that was all his own. It reminds me, I'll tell you what it reminds me of, Senna and Schumacher. Senna and Schumacher. Hill and Schumacher.
Yes.
Whenever you put those two together, they were always coming together for some strange reason. A different style of riding, in this case a different style of riding. It really does cause a problem for those men.
So you're actually agreeing with me in saying racing incident?
I think racing incident. I don't think it was any fault of Hodgson, and then again I don't think it was the fault of Walker either. So Walker leads. Hislop, well, your wish for him on the podium, in fact our wish for him on the podium, is looking pretty damn good at the moment.
And John Reynolds will know Hodgson's on the floor, the man who could have taken his championship lead off him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, John Reynolds really is let off the hook again. At Alton Park he was let off the hook when Walker and Hodgson ended up in the dirt, and he came through to win that race. At Snetterton, John Reynolds rode brilliantly in race 2 to take the win from Walker and Hodgson when they were both hitting really good form. And now here he is again. Hodgson will score no points, and I think how many points is Walker behind? Something like
39, 35,
something like that. So Walker really needs win.
Yes, about that many as well.
If the National Tyre Suzuki boy are likely to get through. There's the standings as we go into this race. Reynolds on 210 points, just 1 point in front of Hodgson. He's going to extend that lead. Walker will not catch Hodgson for the second place, even if he wins now. Oh dear me! Go on, Hizzy, get on him.
Can we do that? Can we be a Hizzy fan club for this race?
Well,
why not?
Being commentators, we're supposed to be unbiased, but go on, Hizzy, get after him.
Yeah, for the sake, he's a man who should be starring at this level in racing.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Hislop, he is a class act. Steve Hislop, I don't love men, but I'll tell you what, when you see a rider like Hislop going for the lead, it's one very special day. Steve Hislop on a good day.
Beautiful, that's Neil's move.
Steve Hislop on a good day can blow this lot into the weeds. He really is something very, very special. Got a great style. Rob Mack, well, Rob Mack is going to be doing the Irish jig down in pit lane in a minute, if he knew how.
Yes. Now then, let's have a look at that move.
This, indeed. Here it is then. This is where Steve Hislop, the Scotsman from Hoyt, the Isle of Man resident, gets one over Chris Walker. Oh, good drive out of the Yamaha there. Gets in the slipstream and aims for the inside as we come to the kink. And really, that is super, super good riding. Gets underneath Chris Walker in the same place Hodgson went for the move before. But you saw his line. He came out left to turn right, whereas Hodgson aimed straight for the apex. there is the difference between Hodgson's style that ended up with him coming together with Walker and his style that didn't come together with Walker.
Of course, him and Walker both on 4-cylinder bikes, Neil on the twin-cylinder Ducati.
Which may have some relevance, but I don't think much. I think it's more down to the rider. It's a good point. It's a good thing to point out, Julian. I'm not taking the mickey, mate.
No, but you're saying not significant.
Well, I think that the fact of the matter is that we need to have a word with Neil Hodgson. I think Neil Hodgson will be feeling at this moment that the world has got it in for him. Because I do believe that Hodgson will feel that Chris Walker had him off there. Hodgson will go back and have serious words with Colin Wright. But I have the feeling that Colin Wright and co will look at those pictures and think, well, the line was stolen. I don't believe that Chris Walker will have aimed at Hodgson at all.
As a non-racer, I agree with you. I think Walker was on the inside and he had somebody coming across him. That's what it looked like to a non-racer.
OK, well, as this race goes on, and Steve Hislop is the hero of race 2 here at Silverstone right now. The hero of the day for me is Jonathan Green, who dares to talk to Colin Wright, the GSE team manager, Neil Hodgson's team manager. Are you standing at a respectable distance down there, John?
Well, surprisingly enough, he's very calm, actually. You saw it yourself. We all watched it. We all gasped. How did you see this one? Well, here we go again.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Neil made a pretty clean move on the first turn. Chris then had to obviously defend, which he did. Another racing incident, unfortunately.
It is unfortunate, but what are you going to do as a team manager here? Because there's a championship at stake now, and I know these guys are very competitive, but something's got to be said to just get them to get their points, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to look at the video again and talk to Neil and analyse the job. But like I say, on the spur of the moment, it's 50-50, same as it was at Auckland.
You showed your faith in Neil, and he's certainly showing his faith in you. He's really given you a championship and a half this year, hasn't he?
He's doing me proud, doing us all proud, yeah.
Back to the race, guys.
Thanks, Jonathan. I think a very, very mature team manager there. Colin Wright, been there, done that. I would say that is a very, very good call. No emotion involved in that.
No.
Very pragmatic. Colin Wright, he's going to look at the video later. They'll make a calm and objective decision towards the end of it.
Well, what I like, Keith, to leap across you was taking it on the chin. He cannot have it both ways. If it was 50-50 at Alton, it was 50-50 here.
And I agree. And I think Paul Denning will be... I hope Paul Denning appreciates that that's the situation. Well, we'll wait and find out from Paul Denning. I'm sure that Claire Smith or Jonathan will be able to get hold of Paul Denning later in the show. But right now, Paul Denning's got his hands full with a Virgin Mobile Yamaha, because it is the Virgin Mobile Yamaha making Rob Mack, the team manager's wishes come true, I'm sure. He spoke to me as we came into this race meeting and said, really, we're desperate to impress Richard Branson and the Virgin Mobile group. It really would be a great thing if we could just hit the form that Steve Hislop showed us at the beginning of the year. He had all those Japanese, all the race kit parts that arrived that cost a fortune in extra money. Remember, they were going to pay for those extra bits as well for Steve Hislop's bike. And here we are, the proof of the pudding, and the reward for spending that extra money and making that extra commitment is showing in race 2 here. Steve Hislop on the Virgin Mobile Yamaha is in front and looking for the first time this year like a Superbike race winner.
This is the real Steve Hislop. He goes AWOL from time to time. His confidence can be fragile, but this is the real Hizzy. So good to see, but the stalker is right on his case, as you can see. John Reynolds maintaining station in third. Hayden closing his teammate down.
So then, while we look at Chris Walker trying to sort things out on the track, we can talk with Paul Denning, who's trying to sort things out at pitside, and he's with Claire Smith. Well, there is a bonus somewhere here.
Now, Paul, we know how intense the rivalry is and how hot the competition is. Another incident, how did you see that?
It'd be easier to say no comment than a comment, but ultimately, if the thing at Alton Park was a racing incident, then clearly that can only be described as a racing incident, because Neil again came across very, very hard on Chris, banged into him, and Chris had nowhere to go across the curbs and banged back into Neil, and the right bloke fell down as far as we're concerned.
Now, Chris came into this meeting this weekend fairly frustrated as what happened last Wednesday, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, but ultimately he's a guy that he's not a whinger and he's not a moaner. He just wants to get out there and do his best. In the first race, Neil smoked us, but I think Neil just got a bit too, let's say, over cocky in that race, and he got a little bit of his own medicine. So be it. Let's play.
Harsh words from Paul Denning there. I'll let you get back to the race, guys.
Thanks, Claire. Indeed. Well, I have to say Paul Denning has been a rider in his time, not particularly fast once, but the fact of the matter is that he has been a rider. He sees it from a rider's point of view. Colin Wright hasn't been a rider, just to put things in perspective slightly there. So Paul Denning, I think, still slightly harsh in his assessment of things. He's very much on the side of his rider, and the side of his rider is almost in the side of Rob Mack's rider here, and that's at the same place.
Again,
incidents have been happening, so really it's all happening at that turn. We'll have to wait and see whether that's the last lap in incident again.
Good work from Claire and Jonathan getting those boys out to talk. Enjoyed that.
Top stuff. I mean, the reporters in pit lane today. Claire Smith, a new girl on the team this year, really working very, very well down in pit lane.
She knows her bike racing, but she should have given her dad's Bill Smith.